Hi, this is Professor Hyman. I'm teaching IBUS130, Globalization and Business in the 21st Century. And this is an online class, our first time out, and we're trying to make it user-friendly, so I'm making this introductory video for you right now. The goal here is to primarily walk you through the syllabus, but also tell you a little bit about me and give you some advice on how to get through the class in a manner that allows you to learn a lot without doing too much work. That is, without wasting time. So let's start with this class. This class is sponsored partly by a grant from the CSU, the California State University System. It's called the Promising Practices Grant, and there were some interesting people involved on the SFSU side. I want to thank in particular Brian Beatty, who's the Associate Vice President for Academic Technology Operations, for facilitating our efforts and working with us on the technology and administration side. Additionally, Yim-Yu Wong, the Chair of International Business Department, and Li Hua Wong, who's an Associate Prof in the department, and Valerie Rosenblatt, who's an Assistant Prof in the International Business Department, all contributed a lot, including 2 videos each. Although Dr. Wong, Yim-Yu Wong, was more production staff, and we have videos from Li Hua Wong and Valerie Rosenblatt. These took a lot of effort. These are the centerpiece of the class. There are 3 location videos, 1 each by me, Dr. Rosenblatt, and Dr. Wong. And there are 3 classroom type videos, again 1 each by me, Li Hua Wong, and Valerie Rosenblatt. And these are the centerpiece of the class around which a lot of the education revolves. Let's talk a little bit about me because, well, hey, what can I say? It's my favorite subject. All right. In particular, what's my biography? What qualifies me to stand up here and teach something like this? In brief, I attended Stanford University, got a BA in psychology in 1981, but I switched gears completely and ended up in 1983 with a Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering with an emphasis in product design. So I have a pretty strong design background. Subsequent to that, I worked for a company called VisiCorp, which developed the first spreadsheet, which was called VisiCalc, which was largely responsible for most of Apple Computer's early successes, now just Apple. And then after VisiCorp, I worked at a place called Contract Office Group, which sold cubicles into the Silicon Valley area. And then I worked at a company some of you know about called Monster Cable. I was director of business development there, and I reported to the CEO, and that was a very exciting job in consumer electronics. They made high-end cables and connectivity. They were also the manufacturer for Beats headphones, although that was well after my time. Fascinating company. Additionally, I worked at a family company for about 5 years called Reactor Experiments, which made shielding products for sources of ionizing radiation, such as gamma rays, X-rays, and neutrons. We did about half our business selling into the medical field and half into defense and power applications. It was a very engaging job. I was a vice president of marketing there at the end. I worked my way up, though, from mailroom, literally, in the machine shop, and then in sales, and then in marketing, and then finally vice president marketing. It was a good job. Company got sold. I went somewhere else. In fact, I moved to Europe, got an MBA at a school called Nyenrode in the Netherlands. I know a lot about European business schools, so if you have some questions about doing an MBA in Europe, I'm a good person to ask. Additionally, following the MBA, I went directly back into academics and did my PhD at University of California at Berkeley, and finished that in 2002, went to work at SF State as an assistant professor, and here I am now, an associate professor whose research interests include international aspects of creativity and innovation. Just for your information, that's the quick bio for me. Let's talk a little bit about the syllabus, and then I'll come back to a couple of topics that I want to hit a little harder that are not in the syllabus. Well, what do you see in the syllabus? What's the first thing that strikes you is that, wow, his office hours are at the downtown center. Okay, it's an online class, it never meets, and I'm teaching a cool MBA class this semester, so I decided to move my office hours to the downtown center for this semester. We'll see how that goes. Next semester, I'll probably be back on the main campus. The downtown center is very easy to get to. I like to take the Daly City BART straight into Powell Street, and it's on the 6th floor of the Westfield Mall. It's pretty easy. Also, second thing that you notice is on page 1 of the syllabus, which you should download and read from iLearn, my cell phone. Use that number wisely. Call me with questions of substance, please. Also, Google Hangout information. Let's set up an appointment, do a Google Hangout. We can also interchange a lot of communications via email. That's kind of some of the logistical course administration aspects. Let me turn a little bit now to the learning objectives. Briefly, by the end of this course, you should have a better feeling for what it means to be global. You should have a better awareness of global events and activities that surround you, indeed pervade your world. You should understand the impacts of globalization. You should also have some better, improved critical thinking skills in the area of globalization and international business. You should have enhanced comprehension of how globalization is a multidimensional phenomenon, and the different dimensions of globalization are intricately related and interconnected. You should have a sense of how globalization affects daily life. I mentioned that briefly before. And you should be able, this is perhaps the most important element, you should cultivate the capability to empathize with and respond to other situations in parts of the world far removed from students' daily experience, from your own daily experience. I'm now switching to page 2 of the syllabus, and I'm going to tell you, you must have the book by Frank Lechner, Globalization, the Making of World Society. Fascinating book. Chapters aren't particularly long or short. I call them medium-sized chapters. The whole class revolves around the book. Other required materials are going to be the videos and links that we put on iLearn. The class revolves around iLearn and the syllabus. They work together. So you need to download, read the syllabus. I would suggest printing it out, and then read the iLearn page too. The iLearn page evolves, so there'll be changes and adaptations of that as we go. Number 4 on page 2, don't ignore this one, other required reading. I'm asking you to have a look at stuff like the Wall Street Journal or Business Week or The Economist or Financial Times, just one of these on a couple of days a week basis so that you can stay up to date on international business. I found if you've got a propensity for apps that the Yahoo Finance app, not Yahoo News, but the Yahoo Finance app, which I know there's an iOS version of, and I suspect there's an Android version of, gives a great summary of lots and lots of international business stories. The problem is it kind of repeats the stories over and over. It doesn't update very frequently, but it's still very convenient, and it would be a good one to get a hold of. Again, that's Yahoo Finance. It's an app available for smartphones. Let's see, let's talk about resources. You're going to have to do some individual and group probably work during this semester, and you should know who your librarians are. Gina Castro and Mira Foster can both answer questions. Their emails are on the webpage and in the syllabus. Check them out. They're very smart people. Main message here is there's a reading load here, but it's a reasonable reading load, so it is possible to keep up with and know the international business news during this semester while also reading the material that I have assigned you. Okay, do both, not one or the other. Thank you. A little bit on evaluation. This is in detail, great detail in the syllabus. We have 4 short essays. 2 of them are 1 paragraph long, and then 2 of them are 1 page each. They were each worth 5% of your grade, total 20%. 4 current event commentaries on articles or videos. This is a forum-based setup. That's a total of 15% of your grade, or 3.75% for each item. 4 online quizzes, again 15% of the grade, or 3.75% each. 1 term project, this is a cool one, 25% of the grade. It's on any approved assignment. I will look at your problem statements, your project thesis statements, and approve them and make suggestions later in the semester. the output, the deliverable for the term project, which is where 25% of the grade, is either a group video or, if you don't want to be in a group, an individual term paper. Speaking of groups, we will assign groups later in the semester. We're thinking right now we'll assign you to groups of 4. The maximum group size will be 4 then, and the minimum group size will be 2. If you don't want to be in a group, what I suggest you do is email me, bruce.a.hyman@gmail.com, and tell me you don't want to be in a group, and we won't put you in one. Or if we put you in one, you can quit the group up to a certain point, otherwise you're in the group. Okay, we'll get more detail on the iLearn about that as we go. But I strongly encourage everybody to be in a group for the final project. I think doing a video is a lot more interesting than doing an individual term paper. The video is by group, the term paper is just one person. It's a hard assignment. It's the same assignment for both the video and the term paper. So think of the difference between getting 4 people to work on the project versus 1 person doing the paper. I'd go with the video. Okay, let's talk more about evaluation. I talked about the term project. There's going to be a multiple choice final exam, 50 questions worth 25% of your grade. There'll be a to be announced extra credit assignment, which will be interesting but difficult. All my extra credit assignments are very challenging because you don't get extra credit for just kind of turning in something. You get extra credit for doing something that's challenging. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the course description. What are we here for? We're here for you to acquire a deeper understanding of globalization. I mentioned the learning goals a minute ago. Let's just talk about the fact that globalization affects people's lives deeply, and we want to increase your awareness of it. We want to also increase your ability to empathize with other people and role play. What if I was in that person's position in Ethiopia, staring down a difficult government situation, and there's this global governance of a bunch of countries that are refusing to help us? What do we do? What's the story? How do we unpack that in terms of politics? What is global society good or bad? Are parts of it good? Are parts of it bad? Which parts are good? Which parts are bad? Let's throw some light on our civil society and look at how much of it is globalized and how much of it is not globalized. Since I'm in the international business department, we take the perspective of business for a lot of our analyses, but capitalism, for better or for worse, is the dominant form of organizing groups in our society, and firms are the dominant form of organization in our society, with perhaps governments being the second most common. So we're going to be talking a lot about economic firms, for-profit firms, and we're also going to be talking a lot about governments during this course. It's very much an overview course. It meets a couple of really good university breadth requirements, does not meet any IBUS major requirements. However, some people may think this is a commercial for the international business major. In fact, I think it's a great major. Let's switch gears though and talk about the course schedule. The course schedule is on pages 4 and 5 of the syllabus, and it's very specific, and it corresponds to the sections on the iLearn pretty darn closely, and I think it's very coherent. So read it carefully, understand it. If you have questions, send me an email. Okay, that was pretty fast. I would say that the only thing I would draw your attention to on the syllabus is the highlights are indicated by little asterisks, stars, and those occur on Chapter 2, Chapter 3, where else? Chapter 10, Chapter 12, and Chapter 13. And those are videos that were created by a team of 4 IBUS professors. So we have 4 professors working on this class at times, and so this is again, the central part of the learning is to watch those lectures and understand them and do the assignments around those lectures. Okay, there's a final exam that is on the 8th of December from 3 to 8 p.m. You'll have 2 hours to do it, 50 multiple choice questions. You only get to try the final exam once. The quizzes, it's iLearn, you get to try 4 times. The final is also iLearn, but you only get 1 try on it. It's also 50 questions instead of 10 questions. Onward. Don't screw up the deadlines for dropping the class or adding the class. check the university calendar. The deadlines are very clear there. The syllabus, item 8, deadlines, gives you a link to the university calendar. Okay, a little bit on turning in assignments. We're using Turnitin, which looks for plagiarism, so don't plagiarize. Don't copy and paste stuff from the internet without giving people credit. Okay, so you turn in your essays using Turnitin. You turn in your current event commentaries using the iLearn forums, which will grade, and the 4 quizzes will also be on iLearn. They're not team quizzes, so work alone, please. Thank you. Project submission will be in the iLearn forums. There's a forum designated for the group project video, and that will be the link to a YouTube video that you will have uploaded. And then the final exam will also be on iLearn with some details to follow. There's a FAQ, frequently asked questions, on pages 6 and 7 of the syllabus. It's highly entertaining reading, and I suggest you go over it. In fact, it's required that you go over it on the last 2 pages of the syllabus, so I won't take up your time with that right now. Let me just say a couple of things. First of all, the quizzes are generally focused on the reading for that week. The final exam can cover everything in the course. That includes the videos, that includes the readings and the links to readings that are on the iLearn website, not just what's in the book. Also, we're going to look a little harder at chapters that we don't have assignments associated with in the book, and I think those are chapters 8 and 13, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a big hint for the final exam. Is going to be a little more emphasis on chapters 8 and 13 in the final exam. Okay, let's talk about my grading system. I grade everything on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 means you did an incredible job and it couldn't be better. We don't give very many 10s around here. 9 is still an A. 8 you should think of kind of as the line between a B plus and an A minus. So if you get a score of 8.5 or higher, that's an A minus. If you get a score of 8 to 8.5, that's more of B plus B territory, okay? Then we talk about a 7. 7 is in that sort of B minus, C plus, C territory. 6 is definitely C, C minus territory, and 5 is in the D territory, and 4 is in the F territory, or below 4. Anything below 4 is pretty much a failing grade. So it's out of 10. If you're getting a lot of 7, if you're getting mostly 7, 8s, and 9s, you're doing pretty well in this class. So you can think of that as nailing it. Okay. More about grading. Your final grade will be based on the percentages I explained, which is in the syllabus. Also, you should know that we'll calculate it out of 10, and I'll use that scale weighted by the percentages of each assignment to give you a final grade. Okay, let's see, one final thought here about following up on the work. Okay, you got the work assignments, there's a lot of assignments, okay, a large number of discrete assignments. You have to keep the pace, you have to keep up with them. No one assignment, with the exception of the project, is huge and monstrous and takes forever. Most assignments will take you 3 to 5 hours to do. But don't get behind, because once the deadline's passed, there's no submitting late assignments. It's just how iLearn works, and I like it. There are no late assignments accepted in this class, okay? If you have a medical reason, talk to me and we'll work something out. But I'll need a note from your doctor on that. There are no late assignments in this class. It's very important that you understand this, because, as I said, each assignment is not very big, but there's a lot of them, so you can't get behind. You have to keep running with the assignments. You have to stay in touch with the syllabus. You need to read the syllabus every single week. Okay, that's about it for now. A lot of dire warnings and a lot of deep instruction, but we're trying to give you a sense of that this class is a rigorous class, even though it's online only. Okay, I will repeat that I'm available during my office hours, and we have Google Hangout possibilities and email, which is very popular with many of my students. I look forward to talking to you, meeting a whole bunch of you perhaps during my office hours, and I hope you have a very fine experience in this class. Take care and good luck.